If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi guys, welcome again to another episode of Peer2Peer. My name is Jay, and today we have the lovely Nicole. How you doing?
Good. I'm great.
Great. All right, let's get into it. So, tell me about what kind of adversity or what kind of mental health problems have you dealt with?
Mostly just depression and anxiety. Those are the two things I've been diagnosed with. And
Okay.
I've had PTSD too.
So can you kind of walk me through like a day in your life dealing with one of those?
I mean, every day is kind of different. Some days I wake up and the anxiety is kind of really bad. Some days, um, depression just kind of puts that weight on your shoulders, and it's hard to have the motivation to get up and do things or to really accomplish any task. And sometimes that's like a mix of both, and they both kind of, you know, kick your ass for the day, and you get like maybe one out of 20 tasks done in a day, but I mean, at least the one's done. I mean, you kind of sometimes you gotta look on the bright side. So, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely been each day, each moment sometimes is just you take the punches as they come to you.
That's definitely a good way of looking at it. I know it could be, especially with PTSD, really difficult, like going day to day through that.
Yeah, it's especially when the PTSD hits, those days can be especially hard. Um, it's nice when like it kicks in right before you go to work and then gives you like a panic attack or something like that. So some days are a lot crappier than others, but I mean, I just like I say, take it moment by moment.
So how long have you dealt with these mental health issues?
Um, I was actually diagnosed really young for my depression. I was diagnosed with when I was 7, almost 8, and which I know is a lot younger than most. But during that part of my life, a lot of really not so good things were happening. My anxiety came later. I would say late middle school. So probably like 12 or 13, it kind of slowly started to develop. Um, and the PTSD, that came later, but I really couldn't pinpoint one because there's a lot of different things for sure that different things kind of trigger, a reaction from me now. Because I've been through a lot of stuff. So I think it just kind of depends, but I'd say middle school-ish is when it started too, with certain things.
So did that make schooling and friendships difficult for you?
Yeah, school was hard for sure. Like I know, like I said, I was diagnosed with depression when I was 7. It got the first time it got extremely bad was when I was 10, so the start of middle school. I would sleep for like 20, 22 hours a day, wouldn't eat, wasn't, so that was a whole issue. I've been on different medications too. Um, which I started medications the first time I was like 8, and then again when I was like 12, and nothing's really ever worked for me per se. It's like it's kind of like having a migraine and only taking Tylenol. Like it takes the edge off, but it's never fully helped. And of course, with a child, like it's hard to get that right medication. So I've been on quite a few medications, even as adult. Um, right now, I'm not taking any, but just haven't found the right mix, I guess.
I gotcha. And
Yeah.
being a kid and having to kind of pick your poison, as some people would say, like, was that complicated for you growing up with that?
Yeah. I mean, I growing up is hard on everybody, period. But I think throwing the depression in the mix definitely makes it a lot harder to just function as, a growing child and teenager as well. It made things a lot harder.
So, what helped you get through those years, especially the teenage years?
Um, I I I don't know, like I was hyper focused on things that made me feel better. And I know that part of part of my thing my entire life I've had is my animals. And even now as an adult, like I have a huge passion for animals. I do a lot. I have like right now I have 4 dogs and 4 cats. Growing up I had 3 dogs and hamsters and rabbits and different things, fish. Like one thing that my mom did do that we did every weekend that helped is I volunteered at an animal shelter, which kind of like makes you feel better. Like I'm a helper by nature, so I'm not good at helping myself, but if I can help others or help doing something that kind of makes me feel better, which kind of helps with my depression, a little bit with my anxiety sometimes too. Um, but yeah, my animals have been a huge thing. Or like I used to write a lot. Um, I like taking pictures sometimes, even just going out for like quiet like nature walks. I like to hike and stuff now because of that. But those were a lot of the things I could do as a child. Um, you know, which definitely helped.
That's awesome. I mean, I know that working with animals, being able to take care of something other than yourself is very helpful for like any all sorts of different mental health issues. So that's really cool that you had that opportunity.
Yeah,
So can you,
but
oh, sorry.
oh no, I was gonna say it's great, but sometimes I was gonna say is like it's so nice to be able to take care of other people, but sometimes it's hard to like do that for yourself.
Do you want to elaborate more on that? Like what that's like for you?
I mean, sure. It's like I'm not good at taking care of myself. I'm not gonna lie. Like I tend to eat bad and not exercise sometimes, which is like for me is a huge thing for my mental health. Like if I'm not taking care of myself, it spirals. But like I always try to like remind my friends who deal with it, which again is helping more others than myself, like to take their medications or to take a break if they're not. And it's, I always try to remember, like remind people and even myself, like it's okay to stop everything just to take a break and take care of yourself. Which I was like, sometimes you gotta just put the brakes on and just chill.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Especially what we have. It's like we have to chill.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, what was it like for you and your family, just dealing with that, handling it? Like, did you have a lot of help
Um,
from your parents or anybody close to you in that regard?
well, growing up, it was just my mom and my grandparents, and depression, anxiety, stuff like that. Like it runs in the family. Like there's a lot of people that aunts, uncles, cousins, things like that that have their own like mental health things. So like it was understood, but at the same time, I think that there was like it was certain people that kind of like, well, yeah, you have depression, but kind of like a get over it mentality, or it's not that bad, you're overreacting to it kind of mentality, which made it very hard to not only just deal in general, but be around those people, especially when those people were around quite a bit. But outside of that, like my mom, especially, like when it got like really bad, especially when I was like sleeping, you know, almost 20 hours a day, like she just kind of let me be. I mean, like she was helpful, but she let me be, which in the end helped, I think, a lot more than anything else could have.
Hmm. So, how would you like? I guess nowadays, now that you're an adult and everything, is there more of a better understanding with your family versus when you were younger? Or
I mean, with my mental health journey, I've one thing that's helped me just kind of like chill out more and just like be able to just not be so anxious is There are certain people in my family that are really toxic, and just telling people to fuck off and not bothering with those people anymore has helped a lot. Because anybody that's in your life that doesn't doesn't do anything positive for you, all it is negativity, you just cut it off. And in my adult life, I've learned to stand up for myself more, and again tell people to fuck off, because I don't need that negativity or any kind of negative anything. And that's definitely really helped my mental health, is just cutting off all the negative, no drama, no anything. And if you're not for me, if you don't want to help me, if you're here to just try to drag me down more or whatever, like, you don't deserve to be in my life. And that's my stand on it. And it's really helped.
So, okay, this is going to be like the trick question, kind of, but like, how did you get to that mentality?
Honestly, I had a lot of mental breakdowns, like the stress of um, trying to like that fake smile and pretend that you like everybody in your family. A lot of like hardships, like I mean, I didn't grow up in the best situations. Like, there's a few times I was homeless. There was like when I was in high school, we got in a bad car accident. I had to learn to walk again, and just a lot of just like negative things, to the point where you get to your wits end, and you're just like, fuck it. You just like all cares get thrown out the window. You just don't like flatline, don't give a shit anymore, and you just tell everybody to fuck off. And it's like breathing a fresh air, almost like after being stuffed in a closet for years, almost like it's so free. And it's helped a lot these last, I'd say 6 years, especially. Like, I've just told everybody to suck a dick. I don't care.
I
But
love
yeah, no, that's,
it.
yeah, just cutting out that negativity, not being forced to do certain things. It's very helpful.
Yeah, like I 100% agree with you on that. And I mean, I think I do a pretty good job of telling people to fuck off too, but I know I have my moments where I'm like, I could do better.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's a learning experience, and especially when, growing up, you're put in an experience where like you have to be around certain people, and your parents or your grandparents are like, they tell you to behave, but behave is pretty much to hold your tongue and just act respectfully as the adults talk, whether it's about you or not. And like in my family, they gossip a lot, the old lady gossip. And they're not so nice to people. They very much have that, like it's mind out over matter, when sometimes it's not. And like they treat mental illness like it should be hidden. Which, so growing up too, I never talked to people about my issues, my mental illness, my anxiety, my depression. And it was something that, at least in my family, that should be um, not talked about. And it was kind of like almost shameful if people knew about your depression or your anxiety or anything else. And it wasn't really till I hit, my middle to end part of my high school years, that other people were more open about their experiences and about what they went through. And it kind of made me kind of like rethink things, and be more open, and be able to talk to people about my experiences. And it also was a way for me to kind of like process things as well.
So, who was the first person that you really confided in about your mental health?
My One of my best friends, Denise, was one of the she actually went through a lot of similar things to um, some of the things that I went through, in life in general, parent and family issues, things that happened to us in school. Um, and me and her like talked about the similar things, but the more I opened up, she was never like she never made me feel shameful about the things I went through or the way I felt about them. And since then, there's been more people that I've been able to talk to and open up to, which has been very helpful. But yeah, she was definitely one of the first people I really could confide in.
Mm. Yeah, so she sounds like she was very trustworthy to you at that time.
Yeah. Well, she still is. I talk to her a lot about my issues now, which is good to have somebody that you can trust and open up to.
Yeah, definitely. She sounds awesome. Like
Yeah.
I love her already. Oh man. So did you just given the family situation that you were talking about, how it was kind of hidden, like they acknowledged that you did have it, but they really didn't like talking about it. Did you ever get to go to therapy or get any kind of help in that regard growing up?
No, I've never been to therapy ever, other than just my family doctor prescribing, hey, try this pill. I've never done anything else outside of that.
Is it something that you would pursue or something that you feel like, I really don't, need it at this point?
I think at this point it wouldn't really have much of really any effect. I mean, I'm not good, but I just feel like, it can't get any worse than whatever I've been through. And with me personally, I feel really awkward talking to people I don't know. And I know people have told me like in the past, like you get past that when you talk to a therapist, but like I have a group of just close friends that I can confide to, and I feel like depending on what's going on, and I have these like small group of people that um I always ask like, hey, are you mentally okay if I can like, emotionally vomit in our conversation to get some, things out. And if they are okay with talking, um I talk with them, and I feel like it's more of a personal thing. They know me, they know my situation. And I feel like I get more of a heartfelt, but also logical, like reaction. And it's just like, I feel like that's more therapeutic, at least for me personally, than going to a therapist. Maybe one day, if I do change my mind, I would try it. But at this point, it's not going to happen anytime soon, probably.
I mean, I have a pretty good solid support structure there. I kind of see where you kind of go, why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah. I
So,
mean,
oh yeah, go ahead.
I would say, oh no, I was gonna say, I would just say everyone's kind of different. Like there's some people like 100% go see a therapist, but I feel like if you have a group of friends or family or whomever that you can talk to, like I wouldn't say that's any lesser than seeing a like licensed therapist.
Yeah, that makes sense where you're coming from with that. So, was it really hard for you to get access to resources for your mental health, like especially in school and whatnot?
Yeah, it was tough. There I didn't talk to anybody like in school or anything like that. The counselors and things like that were kind of not they were kind of crappy people. So like I never reached out to any teachers or anything in school. When it came to like the singing stuff, you know, I was a single mother. We didn't have a lot of money, so sometimes we didn't have medical insurance. So a lot of the times I started vacations when we lost insurance because like my dad wasn't paying for it or he whatever, but there wasn't the money. My mom had the money to pay for a doctor or pay for medication. So a lot of my like I'd be on medication for so long and then it would stop, and then a different doctor later on when I got insurance again would start me up on a different medication. I'd only be on that for so long until it would stop. So it was definitely hard, and my mom was trying, and I was taking it as prescribed, but because of that, that really messed me up more, I think, because there wasn't that constant.
Oh, are you there, hun?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh, okay, okay. I just lost you for a minute. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all good. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, could you correct me if I'm wrong and if I heard this wrong. So when you were on medication and because of you guys losing your insurance and whatnot, being on and off the medication made things slightly worse, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so as you became an adult, how did it get easier for you? Like, how did you, just navigate all of that?
I mean, as an adult, there was a lot of hurt. Like, I know this is a lot, but I mean, it just got to a point where I had to take it day by day. Like, it got really bad, and it just seemed to like my depression on its own is bad, but I'm functional. But then it's, there's just moments in my life where things have just kind of dipped down pretty low, and it got to a point where I knew that if I didn't at least try to just look at the small good things, like even if the stars are pretty tonight, or there's a rainbow, or look at the birds, like just the teeny tiny small things. Like I've tried committing suicide before a couple times, and the last time I tried it was kind of like it was hard, because like it was just such a low spot, and after that I really pushed my brain to focus on the good things, even if nothing really good happened that day. But the stray cat I was feeding, came up, ate some food, looked a little bit better, and went back into the woods. Like it made me feel better. And that was a good thing because the cat ate that day. You know, the moon was bright, so I could stay outside. It was a warm night, so I could stay outside and listen to my music, just the small things. And it was a fight because when your brain thinks negative, like negative all the time, it naturally just thinks the negative first. So to think those better thoughts again, like you really have to fight for them. But once you kind of get your brain into that rotation of thinking about the better and not the negative, like that kind of changes your thought. It helps with the depression. It helps with just the bad everything. And that's one thing that for many years and even today, I still focus on because I know that if I just go to the negative and just see all the bad things, because there's always going to be bad things, just like there's always going to be good things, because that's life. But if you only focus on that glass half empty and not being half full, you really make it worse off for yourself when you already have that struggle.
Mhm. Well said. Sorry, I kind of had like a brain glitch for a moment.
Hey, that happens. It happens. I have those. I have those too.
Yeah, welcome to the club, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit more about because you mentioned like your dogs that you have, and you mentioned the cat. I kind of want to know, like, how do animals really contribute to your mental health and well-being?
Um, I mean, when I was a kid and like I had Sergeant Oreo, and like they knew, like animals, they're pretty freaking smart, like smarter than we give them credit for. And there were times where I was really low and they would just like shove their love upon me. Like they would not stop. And like that definitely made me feel better. And even if it was just them laying next to me in bed, because just physically I just didn't have the energy to do anything, like it still makes you feel better. I think a lot of depression, you just kind of feel alone and you feel like no one's on your side. And at least for me, like even when I had nothing, like I always had my dogs. And that was something in life that really helped me. And even now as an adult, um, I've had my hardships and I've had some of the crappiest things happened. And, going home, I still have those animals with me. And even on my worst days, my sickest days, they stay with me. But it's also motivation of even with your depression, at least this is how I feel, I still have to get up and go outside, because they rely on me. And I have to get up and get them their food. And I have to make sure that their water bucket's always filled. And I have to do that. So it's not only their love to me, but I know that they're relying on me. And that's motivation, even through my depression, to get up. And, in my life, only been two moments I haven't had animals. And that was when I was a baby. And when my Newfoundland died, and there was like not even 2 month period that I went from having no dog to saving my first of the four I have now. And I know it's because I can't be alone. And I think my brain's just hyper focused on just having that. And that's what makes me feel better. And that's what my brain will do. It'll hyper focus on whatever, gives me that kind of fake chemical release, because we know there's no serotonin in my brain right now. But it just helps. And it's there's that motivation to, you know, do something. It forces, like, you just being forced to go outside for a half an hour and getting the vitamin D from the sun. Even though they're playing and I'm just sitting there, like, it still helps. So I think, at least for me, that's kind of what's kept me going, those guys, because they do give all their love to you as a pet parent, but because of that, like, your brain's more motivated to actually get up and do things. It may not be a lot of things, and you may be going at the bare basic, but it's still better than just laying there doing nothing.
Mm. So what do you think, what would your life look like, you think, if you didn't have your pets there for you, especially with your mental health?
Honestly, I don't think I would be here, because, like, there's a lot of times that I wanted to kill myself, and I was like I'll wait until this animal passes. And then, at least in my life, I've always had multiple animals, but then I don't find more, they find me, and I end up having to rescue them. That's how I've gotten all of my animals, it's through rescue. And it's me, again, focusing on them and caring for them, that keeps me going. But it also, just like, me focusing on them makes me not focus on myself, and not focusing on myself means I don't have to deal with as much anxiety or the depression or the PTSD or anything like that, which helps me just function daily.
So besides taking care of your animals and being a really awesome pet mom, uh,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Like, are there any other outlets that you have that help you, you know, cope with what you have?
Growing up, I was an avid reader. And then I got into writing about eighth grade, and I was so bad at first. I was never a good writer in the beginning. Um, but I used to, I had just different groups, and then also role play groups that I would just focus on, and just being able to kind of, like, make a character and be that character and not be me. Like, that definitely was a huge motivation. Um, but also, and there are things like, I would go for walks, and then, like, now, when I can, because, working and all that, like, I love being out in nature. I like hiking, biking, things like that, things that get me out of the house and seeing something beautiful. That's definitely a good thing. And then I've always been a very avid documentary watcher. Most of them are nature based. But that's something that I can just, put on my phone or put on the TV or whatever, and just kind of focus on that when I'm having a bad day. I don't have the energy to, like, physically do anything. And I can just sit and enjoy something that's usually very pretty.
That's pretty cool. I don't know a whole lot of people that watch documentaries to help them out their mental health, so I think that's pretty darn awesome.
Yeah. At least with me, it's about just kind of, like, focusing on something else. And, again, just getting through that one day, and then that next day is a new day. So it's a brand new start, and whatever you start with, you can continue from there. So if it's a better day, if it's a better morning, it's a great day. If it's not a better day, that's okay. Just take it one step at a time. At least that's how I try to view it.
I dig that. Um, before the before the pandemic, actually, how do I want to word this? I had it in my head and then I lost it for a moment. um, so has the pandemic made it more difficult regarding your mental health, or has it been easy to navigate for you?
It's been a lot harder. Um, I'm an extroverted introvert, so I like being by myself, but at the same time, like I like being able to see people for small amounts of time. I like I have to have my alone and my me time. But at the same time, if I can't have like small conversations here and there, like it gets to me. Um, and a lot of my friends have moved away, but like I'm friends with my boss, or I get to see people here and there, anime conventions and things like that. And then simple things like all the like I was gonna go camping last summer and things like that, and it was all closed down. Everything was, shut off and canceled, and it was like everything like just kind of went down the drain at one time. Um, and then like I think the worst part of it, other than the depression of being stuck in my house for many months by myself, because I do live alone. Um, the hardest part, outside of not being able to like go to work or just go out and like at least have those small conversations, because we are very social creatures. um my anxiety got so bad all of 2020, and a lot of it had to do with like financial things, me worrying about like my close family. um if they were to get COVID, it would kill them because of their like autoimmune disorders or their other illnesses. So the anxiety for that, like I myself had COVID, it was really bad. um but it hasn't been too good now that things have opened up, at least around here, just a teeny tiny bit. And me getting back to work, that's definitely helped and it's gotten better. But I still definitely deal with um, worse mental health because of the whole pandemic.
I have a question too. Like, as somebody that got COVID myself, I realized that it really affected my mental health and well being. Because I remember prior to getting sick, I felt like, I have a pretty good handle on things, but then afterwards, I crashed. Like, did you have anything similar to that?
Yeah, I could definitely say that it was the best word I can explain it with is also like a crash. Like everything just seemed to just fall apart. And like I know that like when my mental health gets pretty bad, like I'll just break down and cry. But I'm pretty good at like not doing that and keeping things together and just like dealing with things logically. And this past year it's been so bad, like I just sometimes it just kind of creeps up on you. So definitely it's just not good overall.
What do you do like when you feel that like that sense of dread like creeping up? Like, how do you cope with that?
I mean, I I try to do something productive sometimes. Like I'll use like my emotions sometimes to like clean my house, or I'll just grab one of my dogs and we'll just come out here to the park, or just go somewhere and go for just a very long walk. And either I'll play my music to just not think at all, or I use it to kind of like think things through, and again try to just be logical about everything and just calm myself down. Or sometimes I'll just cry and sleep it off. So depending on how I feel, or even what time of day it is or whatever. I mean, I just try to either work through it or get past it, because sometimes with really bad attacks, like panic attacks, or like if I'm dealing with like a really bad PTSD moment, there's not much I can do except just cope and get through that section of the day. um, and usually after those types of things, I'm very exhausted after the fact. So sleeping, it definitely still, like I'll take like a 3 hour nap and kind of wake up feeling a little bit more refreshed.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's just it's like it never ends.
Yeah, yeah. It's gotten a little bit better lately though. I haven't had too many things. Like I would like last like 2020 as a whole was disastrous.
I
But
think we
it's
can all agree on that.
yeah, but it's gotten a little bit better for sure. Not much, but a little bit. But that's still better is better, so I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. And you're currently working during the pandemic, correct?
Yeah, I have two jobs.
Oh, okay. How are you managing that on top of your mental health?
I mean, as an adult, you got to pay bills, you got to take care of fur kids. So that's my motivation. Not being homeless is and not being hungry is a pretty good motivation.
Damn straight.
My um, my main job, um, she's pretty cool. I've like she knows because I have like physical injuries and like issues too. So she knows like if I'm having a bad day, um, like I work a little bit slower, but I still get the things done. So she just lets me be. My second job I just kind of started. Um, so far there hasn't been too many issues yet, but both jobs work around animals, so that's definitely something common interest with like other people, and definitely a passion of mine, so it definitely helps. Even on my worst days, it's still, I guess, not as bad as it could be if I worked somewhere else that didn't, have animals. So I mean it can be stressful, um but I get through it pretty well, I think.
That's good because I know that sometimes one's work environment can, make the symptoms that you deal with daily, like 10 times worse. So it's good that you have, from what it sounds like so far, employers that are really understanding about what you are going through.
Yeah, thankfully it's been pretty good. But I've had jobs that have made my mental health worse, so I know how hard it can be, and the stress that comes with that, which triggers things even worse. So I'm definitely blessed to be in two jobs that, at least so far, have been really good for me, like overall.
So, oh, sorry, my lizard. He just got this tank. um,
We got another co-host.
yep. Hey, Bowie, say hi to everybody. Hello, humans.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, to my viewers out there, so sorry. um, oh, kind of lost you, hon. You
Can
still
you
with
hear
me?
me? Oh,
Yep,
yep,
I can.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yep, I
All
got
right.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, gotta love technology, right?
Right.
So, out of because you mentioned you have anxiety, PTSD, and all that. Which one would you say is the most difficult for you to like handle?
The PTSD is the hardest one. It doesn't pop up all the time, but when it does, like there's no stopping it. Um, and it's like, I mean, like I shut down almost. That's 100% the worst one for me.
What would you say to people that are experiencing, similar symptoms and similar, situations as you?
Um, Definitely try. It takes a long time. It doesn't happen overnight, but get yourself in a better place, location wise. Like it's like if you are in a bad place, whether it's a house, a city, whatever, just leave. It's going to be hard. And sometimes you'll leave and have nothing to go to, and you'll have to start from level one. But like long term is so much better for your mental health, um, and building your own life for you. And again, telling everybody to fuck off if they are not for you. Like that's one of the best things. If you're an animal person, have an animal, whether it's a fucking betta fish or a hamster or a dog or some type of reptile, like a bird, whatever you want, whatever is good for you. If you have a pet chicken that loves you, then like bitch, you keep that pet chicken. Like it's the best thing for you. But I, that's, those are my coping things, but just whatever you're passionate about, whatever makes you happy, do it. Whatever makes you feel better, surround yourself around, like have it all around you, no matter what it is, as long as it's good for you. And you have to be careful about the things that make you feel better, though, preventing you from continuing in life. Like, I used to watch a lot of anime, or I'd play video games, and as much as that does kind of like help you cope, you can't really, go on, with doing that. Like, you have to get yourself in a better place. So there's definitely a balance, you know, that you have to find. Like with me, my profession is the things that I love. And, my entire life, because I hyper focus on it, um, due to it just making me feel better, I've been able to make a career out of it, which has been a blessing for me. So that's definitely something that, is, depending on what they do or what they like, can be harder for other people. Um, but it's always a fight, and as long as you just push as much as you can to get into a better position. Like, I always just tell people, just even if it's just one small thing a day, just try to be better, try to do better. If not, you know, not for anybody else, but just for you, because you can't live for other people. You have to live for yourself. And sometimes that can be hard, but it's worth it.
Hey, most definitely.
Yeah.
So, again, brain glitch. I am so sorry. It's like
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, but it's like I've done like so many episodes now. You'd think like I'd have it like all up here now, but it's like no.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes with mental health, you have brain glitches, you have moments of fogginess, and this just brings more of the realness to the podcast. So,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know,
Oh man, yeah.
so
For those of you out there listening, brain glitches are not fun. I mean, I already feel like an old
no.
lady as is, but boy.
Yeah, it can definitely be hard. Like me personally, um, it's hard because, like, like I said earlier, like, I was in a car accident, had to learn to walk again, but I also have a brain injury from it. Um, so it's like some days are like, is it from the brain injury, or is it because like my depression is being an asshole today? Like, why am I forgetting this? Because I know I'm forgetting something.
Oh, that's relatable. Yeah, that was something I wanted to ask you a bit earlier too about like your car accident, if you're okay with it. I just want to know, like, did that really have a huge impact on your mental health, or was it, you know, like, eh, nothing too bad?
Oh no, it was extremely bad on my mental health, like very, very bad. Um I went at 15 years old from being a very strong, independent young woman to not being able to walk, and from my waist down feeling nothing. Um and especially being an extremely independent individual, to not being able to like bend over and tie your own shoes, walk up the stairs, even like put yourself on a toilet, a bathtub, like anything like that. Like, it's so hard. Like, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. So, I mean, it definitely, like, you feel like you're useless. And like, for me, like, as a person who always relied on myself, it made it like 100,000 times worse. Um, so, it's definitely something that was a huge blow to my mental health. Like, uh, high school wasn't easy for me. I had a lot of like home things that were already hard and that I battled every day. But then that on top of it was just like a nuclear bomb going off for my mental health, and it was very bad. It was extremely bad.
So, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, like, are you able to, get around okay?
Yeah, they actually told me I was never going to walk again, and it took quite a few years, and I was walking better. I wasn't able to get my reconstructive back surgery until I was 20, and then I had to learn to walk again, with like the rods and stuff in my back. But for the most part, like I'm in pain. Um, each day is kind of like what amount of pain I'm in, but I'm able to walk, I'm able to work. The only things that have kind of changed is I can only lift so much weight now. Like before the accident, I could pick up 110 pounds, no issue. Um, Now I'd say only about 50, 60 tops. Um, but I also have to be very careful. There's a lot of like movements and stuff I can't do, like certain twists and whatnot. I'm pretty stiff in my core, but I'm walking. I'm able to do things. And if I wasn't, I feel like I'd be a lot worse off mental health wise because my mobility, again, I like going for walks, bikes, bike rides, going just out. Um, it definitely would have been hard for me to try to find a new avenue to get to those places because those are what helps. And having that mobility is what helps with my mental health. So if that would have been cut off, um, and very limited to me, that would have definitely made things a lot worse.
So how did you find that strength to walk again?
I'm a spiteful person because when somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm like, no, bitch, I'm gonna do it. I had 4 doctors tell me I was not gonna walk again. And as much as I love my mother, I'm never gonna live with her for the rest of my life. And I'm like, who the fuck are you telling that I ain't gonna walk again? Because bitch, I'm walking. Um, so I went from them telling me I'm never going to walk again to I'm going to walk a little bit, but mostly be in a wheelchair to, hey, holy fuck, you're walking. I'm like, yeah, bitch, because I'm not staying at home with my mother for the rest of my life. Have you met the bitch? Like, I don't think so. So, yeah, I mean, it's just I'm a stubborn bitch, and I'm not going to be told no. And that's, I had a lot of doctors give up on me, but I would just lay in bed and do random movements until I was exhausted to get my body, my core especially, just as strong as I could. Um, and One blessing I did have is my new Flynn mix. She would just naturally come up and I would kind of be able to balance on her. And of course, my family helped, my brother, my sister, my mom. Um, but yeah, no, I had a lot of issues with doctors telling me, and nurses, like I was told to give up many, many times because there was no point. Because it wasn't just my lower back, but I had during the accident, the curve of my spine collapsed, and I had a disc that deviated and sliced through my spinal cord. So I had both a spinal and a spinal cord, injury. So I mean, it was very hard. It was a very painful process, but I'm stubborn, and I don't like being told no. So that's how I got through that. That's how I get through a lot of life. It's like, oh, you're never gonna be able to do that. I'm just like, you know what, bitch, you can say that, but I'm still gonna do it.
You see, that's a mentality I wish more people would adopt in this world.
It's it's a good thing to have, but sometimes you got to work on getting yourself to that point. And at that point I was at rock bottom, so I already couldn't walk. So I could have just said, okay, I'm never going to walk again, or I could at least try. At least with me trying, even if I wouldn't have been able to fully walk again, I was able to walk a little bit and then be in a wheelchair, and then walk with I was like an old lady with like a giant Ninja Turtle back brace and like a little walker going down the road, and then I'm walking, so I mean, it's baby steps, and just like me learning to walk again, to having that mentality, sometimes it takes baby steps. But again, as long as you're moving in the right direction, it gets easier and easier every day to tell people to fuck off. So
Oh man, again, that is such a magic word, especially with mental health. It's like just fuck off, just namaste, just
yeah,
yeah, be.
it's right. I mean, it's definitely one of the biggest things in my mental health journey And like, even like as an adult, especially now, like it's so fun to say just like to random people that come up to you and just are all negative, and you're just like, fuck off. I don't even know you, but fuck off. And it's just continue on with like good energy and just be that person you want to be that day, and just, like have your own bubble. Like just don't let other people's shit uh burst your bubble. And if they try to, tell them to fuck off. Like it's so like it's that's like Sesame Street. Instead of the letter of the day, it's what to say for the day, and it's fuck off.
It kind of reminded me of John Cleese, where he said, "Fuck off doesn't mean go away. Fuck off means fuck off."
Exactly.
uh, fuck. It's like we're at that part of the podcast where we're just like, yeah, we're just gonna burst into random curse words now.
Yeah, might as well. I didn't curse enough in the beginning of the podcast. Gotta get it all in before it's the
So we're coming down to like the last bit or so. Is there anything final that you'd like to say besides for telling people to fuck off?
I mean, as everybody's in a different part of their own journey, and just keep going, because I've been at rock bottom. I know how shitty it can be, but just, take it one step at a time. Like a lot of people, and I know when I was younger, worry about the future or worry about things long term. And if you can focus on that for a second, that's cool. If not, just get through the day. And then the next day is a new day. And as long as even if it's only by little bit, if you move forward to a better place and a more positive place, that's all that matters. Mental health is just like your physical health. If you have a broken foot, you're not going to walk as fast. You got mental health, sometimes you're not going to get there as fast, but you'll get there eventually. And as long as you try, that's the most important thing. And that's sometimes that's just the mentality you have to have. So don't rag on yourself as much, because you're doing your best. Even if other people don't realize it, you're doing your best. And people kind of fucking suck, but I love you, so you're gonna be okay. So I'm your mom now. Shut up and listen to me. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, mama.
But yeah, I mean, just take it easy on yourself. Tell people to fuck off, eat some nachos, and just do what you can. And if that's what you do, then that's what you do. But it'll be better. It gets better. It's gonna be okay. And yeah.
Well, don't think I could have said it any better. Oh, except say fuck off at the end, but we're on a roll.
Right. Right. Tell everybody to fuck off and be happy, okay?
I think I'm going to sign off with that, definitely.
Well, thank you for letting me be on the podcast with you.
Yeah, no problem. I was actually about to say thank you for this opportunity to talk to you, and for you being really passionate and expressive about your mental health journey. It's really cool.
Yeah. I love being here. So it was great.
Sweet. Oh man, I'd love for you to come back.
I would love to come back. There's so much more we could get into. So much more.
And lots of cursing shenanigans on top of it.
I mean, yeah, that's always a part of it.
All right, guys. So today on Peer2Peer, we interviewed the lovely Nicole. Nicole, again, thank you for being with us. If you would like to be on Peer2Peer, you can always contact me on anchor.fm. And also too, Peer2Peer has a Twitter page that you can go on to as well. Just feel free to give me a DM and I'd love to hear your story. And also please consider supporting the podcast. That way I can keep on continuing interviewing more people and, sharing our mental health journeys because we need connection and we need to know that we're not alone in our battles. So again, Nicole, thank you for being here. And
Yep.
yep. And everybody else, fuck off and get happy. All right. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.